We all have the point, dude, and just trust to it.
Yeah, going to what is up, guys? Today I will talk to you about fear. Fear is something that holds most of us back. For example, why am I wearing this mask? Some people will say, oh, because you're afraid of your revealing your real identity on the internet, aren't you? Well, think about it. Everyone is so bland and themselves on the internet. Everyone is like, yeah, this is totally me. I'm being so authentic with you right now. And this is a great way to sell you something, by the way, to say, oh yeah, this is my true story right now. Many people will say that as sort of a salesman tactics of this false honesty and stuff like that. Not just that, but like in general, everyone is just like so bland, and you can kind of read through them, and they're so like, everyone's sort of the same. And in pretending that they're themselves, they're all like, it's like they're all afraid to stand out. So by wearing this mask, it's like, well, now you will see the like, this is Nameless. This is what I do, If you don't like it, fuck off. If you love it, hell yeah, fucking love it. So you see, it's like, it's sort of this mindset of like, yo, you're doing your thing, and who the fuck is to judge? Just do it. And it feels like many people are held back by fear in life. Fear for anything really, not just fear of, let's say, what other people think, or fear of what other people will say about you and stuff like that. And it stifles you in many ways, and it even becomes sort of a governing factor in their lives. Fear becomes this governing factor where everything they do has to do with fear. It has to do with trying to avoid pain, and fear has become such a component of life nowadays that like we don't even realize that we have that fear, but we have it. For example, why do you go to your job every single day? And that's all you do, and when you get back home, you just numb yourself and watch television. Not necessarily you, but you as in like, society. Why do most of us, many of us do that? It's because implicitly speaking, we don't like know it consciously, but it's because we're afraid to put ourselves out there, to start our own business, to start our own ventures, to start our own YouTube channel, to make money on our own. We want to depend on a fat paycheck to be happy, to have like success in life or whatever. We want to depend on this shit. And because of this sort of dependence that we have, we disguise it as virtue. Like, yeah, go to school like everybody else, man. Yo, school isn't the future isn't school, man. Education is the future. And we disguise our fears as type of virtue. This is the biggest of traps, is when you intellectualize your own fears. Your fears sort of, you have this intellectual sort of concept of like, yeah, man, this is why I live my life. This is what I do with my life. I'm such the best or whatever. And then you think that you're so superior, or not necessarily you. Anytime I say you, it could be anyone, but like, that person feels so superior because they think that, hey, you know what, X, Y, Z, this is why women are evil. The MGTOW community, I love to shit on them, but it's like they rationalize their own pain and fears, and like the fact that they're afraid that, hey, you know what, they might be alone for the rest of their lives. So then they don't want to accept that fact, or if they do accept it, they accept it as a virtue because they're just afraid to get out there and actually work on themselves, or whatever. We'd have to dive deeper into that, but that's just one side of it. The sort of avoidance and thinking that your avoidance is like smart. It's not smart. One thing that fear stops you with is that it only sees the downsides, right? It only sees the downsides. Look at those swords behind me. You see those beautiful swords from my roommate? They're absolutely beautiful. But that one thing with that is that you could be like, oh, well, why do you put swords, man? Like, oh, it could fall and like cut someone. No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Danger is beautiful. Danger is, it's like you have to develop this sort of taste for fear, to embrace the fear, embrace the unknown. sort of an acquired taste. Kind of the pain of working out, it's an acquired taste. But people don't want to do that. They're like, oh, let's just remove the fear, remove all the pain. And then why? Because they only see the downside in the fear. It only sees the downside. So then, for example, oh well, I'm not going to start that business because 90% of businesses fail, right? Well, I'd rather just like have my job or whatever. That would be just better, right? Only seeing the downsides again. Like, why do we see the downside? Because the fear is sort of a protecting shield, but it protects you from harm, but it does not push you towards fulfillment, happiness in life. So you want to remember that. Another thing that fear that makes you do is that it makes you reactive, really reactive. And it's like you have all this amazing prefrontal cortex in your brain. Your brain is such a complex machine, like the most complex thing in the known universe right now, right? And when fear happens, it overrides it, and you can't think straight anymore, and then your brain just freezes up, and you lose all capacity to think, all capacity to exert reason and your rationality, to all your years of thinking of personal development, all the theory you've learned from whatever books you've read, and all the knowledge you've accumulated throughout the years. When fear happens, all of it is wiped out. In an instant, it's wiped the fuck out, right? Everything you've learned about conversation, throughout your years of conversation, every day for minutes to hours per day, for all those years, when you see this beautiful girl, all of a sudden, all your conversational skills go right out of the window. So the thing is, fear, we have to master it, because if we don't master that fear, what is going to happen to you is that it's going to keep limiting you all the fucking time. Another thing is that fear will stop you from exploring the unknown. When I started this channel, I never thought people would be interested in listening to a guy with a mask. They'd probably think, yo, it's some weird ass fucking shit. Like, why is he hiding who he is behind a facade? Why is he not being real with us? What's that? Can't he just be like a normal person? I had all those doubts in my head. And I thought, you know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna jump into the unknown and be the very first life coach on the fucking internet with a mask on. Who's crazy enough to do that? I am. Because I was like, yo, I'm gonna jump into the unknown. And sort of what I'm doing, I want this to be an inspiration for you to do it as well. Because there is no growth in the comfort zone. Like, anything that is growth, by definition, is outside what you've already done. So by definition, to grow is to go in the unknown. If you refuse to face the unknown, then what will happen is that you will just regress. You will regress back to your comfort zone, and you will let the fear run you. And the more the fear runs you, the less you can run yourself, and the less empowered you are. You lose all your power. Every single day, you have to choose the unknown. Be willing to, at least in a controlled sort of scenario. So in a sort of controlled, nice scenario, be willing to face the unknown. The thing with fear is that fear is very constrictive. You have all this pent-up energy, all this inspiration, all this creative energy you want to expand, all this love and light that you want to share to the world, and all this intellectual knowledge of amazing things you want to share and contribute to the world, or you want to do something of your own. And then all this crazy energy, when fear occurs, it's like it squishes you. And if you let it happen, you will lose all of it. So the thing is, I want to invite you to go in the opposite direction of that constricting energy. It's constricting you. So then push outwards as much as you can. It'll be hard. It'll take you some energy. It's not your fault really. The fear, it's just a force of nature. It's like a storm. It's like a thunderstorm. Like, Is it your fault that a thunderstorm is happening? Not really. But you know what you can do when there's a thunderstorm? You bring your umbrella. You find a way to outmaneuver the storm. Force of nature, like trying to stop me from achieving my goal. I'm just gonna go through it. I'm just gonna go through the storm and get to the village or whatever. Get to your destination. It's a force of nature. See it as such. It's sort of like this impersonal, sort of immoral type of force in the universe. That fear, right? And you can learn to make love with it. You can learn to be really at peace with it. And this is what I want to invite you to do. Every day, find that one thing that makes you afraid and do it. Another important thing that you have to know is that fear will stop your intuition as well. Our intuitive powers of, intuition comes from, our gut feeling of like, oh, this person is right, this person is not right. Oh, this is an opportunity I should jump into. This is an opportunity I should not jump into. And this intuition is it's sort of like a gut feeling from right there. But like your heart also connects to your brain, so it's like this entire bodily sensation of knowing, You ever like walk down the street and someone starts talking to you, like some random stranger, and you have this really bad gut feeling about that person, right? Well, that's how it works. But like when you're, let's say when you're really afraid, and then you have to think straight, then you're not going to trust your intuition, because your fear is going to it's like this big cloud that's going to stunt your intuition. So let's say you see this amazing opportunity, let's say at work, there's something wrong happening at work, like someone at a meeting says something wrong, and it is wrong because you've done your research or whatever, and deep down, I gotta raise my hand, I gotta tell them it's wrong. But you don't do it because you're afraid, right? Then look at what fear has just done. It has stunted your intuition, your intuitive powers of knowing that you knew what was right. You couldn't act on it because fear stunted it. Anytime that you will need your intuition, and imagine if any time fear did that to you, then wow, it would be very difficult to be successful in any field, because many fields do require some thinking as well as intuitive decision making. Which brings me to my last point, is that fear will stop you from taking decisions. That's it. Fear will stunt your decisions. Fear will make your decisions be wonky or whatever shit, unclear. And fear will not allow you to become a leader, decision maker, because that's what being a leader is knowing how to take decisions. It doesn't need to be leader for other people. It can be leader for yourself. Can you be a leader to yourself, right? Can you lead yourself towards that path that you want? But if fear gets in the way, guess what's going to happen? That decision-making muscle is just going to weaken and weaken and weaken. It's like this force of nature, as I told you, that's just going to squeeze you like a grape. So then I invite you to go in the opposite direction. So that's really it, guys. That was how I did this video, guys? I just stole all the ideas from I googled fear on Google. I took the first article that popped up and I just improvised on it. In your life, where is fear holding you back the most? In which areas of life? It could be in dating, it could be in business, it could be in life, it could be with your family, it could be with money, it could be at work, wherever it is. For any decision, so this is an exercise for you actually, for the rest of the day or tomorrow. Ask, whatever decision that you take, okay? Ask yourself, is this decision taken out of fear or out of genuine want or need? Right. So let's say when you go to the gym, am I going to the gym out of fear or out of want or need? So then maybe you're going to the gym because you're afraid to be fat again. That could be something to think about, right? That could be a way where fear is guiding your life. When your friends invite you out to do some awesome social activity, right? Really awesome social activity. And then you don't want to go out and you're like, no, I'm not going to go out. Sorry, guys. Is it out of fear of being social? Is it out of fear of, not wanting to socialize and afraid of being ridiculed in public or whatever shit? Or is it out of genuine want or need? Because you value your alone time and you have important things to work on. See, like there's a very nuanced distinction here, but I want you to ask yourself that at least for a few decisions or the very important decisions in your life recently that you've made. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to click on the bell so you receive all my videos that I post every Monday, Friday. I try at least to have live streams on Monday, 7:30 p.m. EST, so don't fucking miss them. And check out my Patreon page. I'm gonna put a link in the description as always. And if you pledge, you will see some awesome specials. See you guys next time. Peace.